Welcome! Launch is a series of short videos and curated resources to support and equip ministry leaders for the important work that God calls us to, the work of growing in love of God and neighbor for the transformation of today's world. The topic of this episode is online ministry tools.
I'm Tanya Campen.
I'm Christine Hides.
And I'm Kathy Pittenger, and we're your launch team.
So before we jump into our topic, I want to start with our playful question. What is your favorite online tool to play with? And I can tell you that I am playing / pulling my hair out with iMovie. I'm a PC person, and I've been trying to make videos for children's ministry, and Mac is not my thing. So yeah, iMovie is my tool. How about you?
I have been investing a great amount of time with Weebly, creating the Launch Faith Formation website, as well as lots of playlists in both Weebly and WordPress. And I've also really enjoyed playing with different design options in Canva. Tanya?
Awesome.
Those are all really great tools. And I think the one that I play with the most are my project management tools, as I try to keep track of all of my ideas and all of the to-dos that I have on my list. And I have to be honest, I always start with my old school, not online tool where I can journal all my ideas and keep all my sticky notes and use all my colored markers. But my favorite online tool to organize that and to keep track of my projects, my to-do lists and ideas is Basecamp. It's a fantastic project manager, so I highly recommend it.
I love it. Sticky notes and markers. Yeah, we all need those in our lives. Thank you, Tanya. So let's get started, because I know that this topic is on everyone's mind these days. I've been thinking about ministry planning as a teeter-totter that is balanced on our why, that shifts between online and at-home gathered ministry. And I like to think about the teeter-totter board as the tools that I use to connect home and online with gathered ministry. And there are a ton of options.
Christine, that is so true. And so I'm wondering if you can break down the types of tools that we might need, knowing that there's lots of different options.
Yes. Before I begin, I'm going to give a shout out to Jennifer Gonzalez at Cult of Pedagogy. She was the one who sort of created the categories that I'm going to share with you. So there are kind of 4 categories of online tools that you might need for distance learning, whether you're in a classroom or a church. So she talks first about outgoing and incoming asynchronous communication. Asynchronous is kind of gotten a bad rap lately because we heard a lot about it in the spring, but it means, at whatever time you are. So I send an email and then you read and respond at the time, at a different time. So it's not happening at the same time. So email and texting, there's a lot of ways, probably we already have all those tools of communicating both to and then receiving communication from our congregation. And then we also all have rapidly become familiar with two-way communication, like this one. We're on a Zoom call now. So video conferencing or FaceTime or all those kind of tools help you to communicate back and forth in real time together. And then the last tool that she talks about that you need is a place to organize your content, kind of what you're teaching or the topic that you're sharing, sermons, that kind of thing. So content organization is the last piece of that puzzle.
Thanks, Christine. That's really helpful. And while there are 4 main categories of tools, it's important, of course, to choose the right tool for your size and your budget. I recommend starting with an inventory of what you currently have and what's working well for you, and then be very specific about what your priorities are, if you need a new tool at all. So we've also made a journal page to guide you through this process. We invite you to click in the Create section of this playlist on the launchfaith.com website to access it. So download the journal page and it'll walk you through identifying what tools are working for you and to start assessing what tools you still need.
Thanks, Tanya. So Kathy, I know that everyone is trying to figure out how to organize ministry content for the fall. So let's talk about that particular type of tool. Do we use something that schools are using? Do we use our website? Kathy, could you share some examples that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I'd love to. Your options are deep and wide, and some churches have chosen to use what schools are doing when it's available because students and parents are already familiar with that technology. Others have chosen to use something different to emphasize that faith formation is not the same as education and give families and kids and students a break from what they're doing all week long. So here's a few options that might help you to get started. One of the models that I see working really well right now is a playlist approach, where you provide content around a single story, scripture, or theme, and allow individuals or families to access them on their own time. So this is asynchronous, where they're on their own time. And there are many ways to organize that playlist. You can create a simple website with Weebly or Wix, which are free, or you can create a Google Doc or even send out a playlist on an email. Because community is also really important with content, you may choose to send out these playlists as a foundation for a small group conversation or as the foundation for Sunday school, and then either talk about them in person or online, depending on where you are. And there are examples of what playlists can look like for various ages and how to get started with curating your own playlist at the launchfaith.com website. A second approach is the online classroom, and those are through like Google Classroom or Edmodo, Blackboard, or Canvas. If you weren't sure about the online classroom option, talk with any middle school or high school student in your world, and they can help unpack what those are. Advantages can be price. They might be free or very low cost. They're familiar to families and the ability to organize content easily. But a drawback is that it can still feel like school for students, and it could be tricky to manage. A third option is an online learning community. And this model is designed to help build an online community through the sharing of content and communication. So it's both and. It may be helpful for churches who are shifting from like a Sunday school model to a model of community practice, or figuring that piece out where we want to have more communication back and forth, not just one way. The advantages are they do focus on community and that relationship, and there are a lot of variety of options out there. One that I have used with success, and I believe Christine and Tanya have also, is Mighty Networks. It's really great for people who want to move away from social media like Facebook, and many have options for a mobile app, which is great for families. Even if they're at home, they don't have to have their computer in front of them. Drawbacks can include costs and investment of time, both in creating and teaching families how to use it. And it could be just one more thing that families are doing. So there are lots of different possibilities. Don't get stuck trying to decide which one is best. Just pick one and get started. Explore it. If it doesn't work, try something new. And you'll know in time what works best for you. Back to you, Tanya.
Thanks, Kathy and Christine, for all of these really great ideas and tools. And thanks to you all for joining this episode of Launch. As you determine the best tools for you and your ministry, be sure to check out the resources we've made available in this playlist. To access the entire Launch playlist for online ministry tools, please go to launchfaith.com or join our group on Vibrant Faith Catalyst. Join us next time for Hybrid Faith Formation.